Hi, I'm Ted Lem. I'm a CPA located in North York. And I've had quite a few people ask me about how do you do the taxes for self-employed people. So if you're a sole proprietor, that's strictly sole proprietor. An incorporation, I'll go through that in another video. Now, this might apply to you if you're a contractor, you're running Uber, you're running Lyft, you're running a small business, or you're doing something on the side that's on top of your employment. I will go through this in this video. So to complete your tax return for self-employed, you are a sole proprietor, so you're going to be filling out a T1. So with a T1, when you scroll down somewhere in the middle of the page, you're going to find that's an area that has your business income or professional income, depending on what category you're in. You need to come up with the gross income as well as the net income. The gross income is how much you bring in, that's your revenues, and how much you charge your customers, and then the net is less any of these other expenses. CRA requires you to fill out the T2125 statement of business or professional activity. So what I have here is the identification area, and when you scroll further down, you're going to find where you have to fill out your gross income. And that gross income area, that's going to fill back into the T1. And you must have tracked during the year the amount of expenses you have, your advertisement, insurance, bad debt, office expenses, salaries, rent, travel, and property taxes, and so forth, as well as capital costs, allowance, and fuel. So with that, you add that up, and then you're going to come up with your total expenses. So with the total expenses, you take that and subtract that from your income, the one that we had before. That's your total revenues, and that's where you come up with your net income. And with the net income, that is where you enter that number into the self-employment portion of the T1 on the right hand side, the net. Probably the most difficult part of this is understanding the expenses that account, and then there's also the CCA, capital cost allowance, as well as vehicle expenses. Now this area would be a little bit complicated for a lot of people. I could help with that. And if you go forward, what happens is you want to be able to track your expenses. If you're only starting out, you don't have a lot of expenses, you can actually do this on a spreadsheet. But when you get to something a little bit more complicated, that's where you probably want to have some sort of bookkeeping software such as QuickBooks to help track what expenses you have, and that is available in QuickBooks. And there is a very unique tool, a very interesting tool in QuickBooks, where you can use your telephone and take a picture of the expenses and assign the expenses, so that you're not doing this bookkeeping at the end of the year, which becomes a mess. If you need help with setting this up, I can have this set up for you in QuickBooks, and so on a daily basis you can use QuickBooks for this. And if you need help with self-employment tax filing, then I can help you with that as well. You have the QR code there, and so you can contact me.